Tick, tock, click, scroll, swipe, faster. Look at your world. It is a masterpiece of efficiency. You have conquered distance. You have obliterated the waiting period. You can send a thought across the ocean in a millisecond. You eat while you drive. You read while you walk. You sleep with your phone in your hand, terrified of missing a single heartbeat of the digital pulse. You are the gods of speed, but you are tired. And in the middle of this frantic, hyper-accelerated blur, something impossible has appeared. A glitch in the machine. Imagine a highway in Texas. Cars are screaming past at 70, 80 miles per hour. Steel and glass blurring into a stream of gray. And there, on the shoulder, moving against the grain of the entire 21st century, are 19 figures in saffron robes. They are not running. They are not marching. They are barely moving. 3 miles per hour. Step, breath, step, breath. They are the walk for peace. To the modern eye, they look insane. Why walk when you can drive? Why stay silent when you can shout? Why go slow when the world demands fast? But watch them closely. There is a secret hidden in their rhythm, a secret that you, in your exhausted state, are desperate to understand. They possess something you have lost. They are carrying a weapon, but it is not a gun, and it is not a protest sign. There is a specific reason they refuse to speed up, even when the semi-trucks rattle their bones, even when the sun threatens to melt the asphalt beneath their bare feet. It is not just tradition. It is a calculated act of defiance. There is a specific mechanics to their slowness that unlocks a door in the human mind, and a door that has been welded shut by your addiction to adrenaline. I will tell you what that secret is, but first, you have to slow down enough to hear it. Why should you care about 19 Theravada monks walking across America? You are not a monk. You are a skeptic. You have bills to pay and deadlines to meet. You should care because you are sick. Not physically, perhaps, but spiritually. The diagnosis is universal. You have forgotten where you are. You live in the future, worrying about the next meeting. Or you live in the past, regretting the last mistake. You are never here. The noise of the world is a constant static in your head. This is where the concept of healing becomes relevant. Real healing is not a pill. It is not a vacation where you rush to relax. Healing is the painful, necessary act of realigning your internal clock with the rhythm of the earth. The walk for peace is not a parade. It is a moving sanctuary. It is a surgical intervention on the American soul. These 19 men have stripped away everything that protects you from reality. No phones, no money, no shoes, no words. When you strip away the noise, what is left? Truth. And truth is often uncomfortable. The skeptic looks at them and sees a waste of time. The wise man looks at them and sees a mirror. They are showing you what you look like when you stop running. They are forcing you to ask the most terrifying question a modern human can ask. If I stop moving, who am I? Let us go back to the beginning. October. Texas. The geography of the start is crucial. They did not begin in a lush forest or a cool mountain pass. They began in the furnace. Texas does not care about your inner peace. Texas cares about heat. The asphalt is a living, breathing beast, radiating temperatures that can cook skin. Here, we see the first test of the collective hero. Do not look at Bante Dom as a leader. Do not look at the youngest novice as a follower. Look at the saffron line. It moves like a caterpillar. 19 segments, one life force. When the heat rises, the collective sweats. When the road roughens, the collective bleeds. They walk single file. The distance between each monk is measured, precise. This is not a casual stroll. It is a discipline of iron. To walk this slowly requires more strength than to run. When you run, momentum carries you. When you walk at this pace, you must carry yourself. Every muscle is engaged. Every step is a deliberate choice to kiss the earth. Drivers slow down to look. They roll down their windows, expecting a chant, a sermon, a protest. They get nothing but silence. But it is a loud silence. It is a silence that cuts through the roar of the diesel engines. In the heat of Texas, the Walk for Peace declared its first victory. They proved that the human will is stronger than the environment. They proved that if you stand together, breathing as one, you can walk through fire without getting burned. But fire is easy. Fire is active. The true breaking point would not come from the heat. It would come from the impact. November 19th. Dayton, Texas. The world of speed finally caught up with the rebellion of slowness. It was inevitable, wasn't it? You cannot place a stationary object in the path of a hurricane without consequence. The highway is designed for steel missiles, not flesh and blood. A truck, a mesmerizingly large machine of commerce and velocity. The saffron line, a fragile thread of humanity. Physics dictated the outcome. The sound was not like the movies. There was no explosion. Just the sickening thud of metal striking body, the scrape of skin on gravel, and then the most shocking sound of all. Silence. In any other scenario, this is where the screaming starts. This is where the anger erupts. But the Walk for Peace does not operate on the logic of litigation. The collective was wounded. One of their own, a limb of the single body, was down. The pain was shared instantly. 19 nervous systems spiked in unison. But watch the reaction. They did not surround the driver with clenched fists. They did not curse the god of speed. They surrounded their fallen brother with a wall of calm. So they poured water. They held hands. They breathed. And for the driver, shaking, terrified, expecting the wrath of judgment, they offered the only thing they had: compassion. They understood that he was just another victim of the rush. He was running so fast, he couldn't see what was right in front of him. This moment defined the journey. It proved that healing is not about avoiding pain. It is about how you metabolize it. They took the violence of the accident and metabolized it into forgiveness, right there on the side of the road. They didn't let the anger enter their bloodstream. They kept the silence pure. As they crossed from the flatlands into the Bible Belt, the atmosphere shifted. The geography changed, but so did the skepticism. Here, a group of Buddhist monks is not just an oddity. To some, they are an alien invasion. The silence here can be interpreted as arrogance. The unfamiliar robes can trigger suspicion. They needed a bridge. They needed a translator. But since they couldn't speak, the universe sent them a translator who didn't need words. Enter Aloka the Peace Dog. She was not a monk. She had taken no vows. She was chaotic, joyful, four-legged energy. She was the counterpoint to their discipline. Where the monks were the stillness, Aloka was the movement. Where the monks were the other, Aloka was the familiar. Picture this: a tough local, arms crossed, watching the procession with a frown. He doesn't understand Buddhism. He doesn't care about the 2,300 miles. He thinks they are blocking traffic. Then, Aloka the Peace Dog trots up. She wags her tail. She looks him in the eye with that unconditional, species-blind love. The man's arms uncross. He smiles. He pets the dog. And in that moment, the barrier falls. Aloka was the diplomatic core of the Walk for Peace. She disarmed the cynics before they could even load their weapons of judgment. She showed the people that these silent men were not statues. They were caretakers. They were capable of love. Through Aloka, the locals saw the monks' humanity. If this dog trusts them, maybe we can too. She was the fuzzy, tail-wagging embodiment of healing. She stitched the edges of these two very different cultures together, one paw print at a time. But the warmth of the South was fading. The days were getting shorter. The air was getting thinner. The collective hero had survived the fire of Texas and the violence of the road. Now, they had to face the cold, and the cold does not negotiate. January 2026. The Carolinas. The world turned white. If Texas was the fire that forged them, the snowstorm was the hammer that tried to shatter them. Visually, it was the most striking image of the entire Walk for Peace. Imagine the stark, blinding whiteness of a winter storm. The trees are skeletons coated in ice. The sky is a flat, oppressive gray. The road is a ribbon of slush and salt. And cutting through this monochromatic landscape, the saffron line, the color of fire, the color of the sun, the color of life refusing to hibernate. But poetry does not keep you warm. The temperature dropped below freezing. For you, inside your heated car, this is an inconvenience. For men walking barefoot, this is a physical assault. The human body has a natural reaction to cold. It wants to hurry. It screams at you to run, to find shelter, and to move faster to generate heat. This was the seductive whisper of the abyss. Just walk a little faster. Just get to the next town. Rush. Hurry. Survive. But the collective refused to listen. They maintained the rhythm. Step. Breath. Step. Breath. To watch them walk on ice was to watch a masterclass in mind over matter. Their feet were red, swollen, cracked. Every step on the frozen asphalt was a micro-trauma. Yet, their faces remained placid. They were not ignoring the cold. They were accepting it. They were letting the winter pass through them like wind through a screen. However, the cold finds the weakest link. It does not attack the strongest monk. It attacks the smallest heart. Aloka the Peace Dog began to limp. The cold had seeped into her paws. The salt on the road was burning her skin, and the mascot of joy was now a portrait of suffering. The saffron line stopped. The collective paused. They didn't drag her along. They didn't leave her behind. They wrapped her. They carried her. And in this moment of frozen stillness, amidst the swirling snow and the pain, we finally understand the secret. Remember the question I asked you at the beginning. Why do they refuse to speed up? Here is the answer. If they ran from the cold, they would be admitting that the destination is more important than the journey. If they rush to get warm, they would be acting out of fear, not peace. You see, the speed of the modern world is driven by fear. Fear of being late. Fear of missing out. Fear of discomfort. We run because we are afraid to be where we are. The monks do not run because they are not afraid of the present moment, even when the present moment hurts. Healing requires presence. You cannot heal a wound if you are running away from it. You have to look at it. You have to feel it. When the people of the Carolinas saw this, the monks carrying the injured dog, walking with agonizing slowness through the blizzard, something broke open in the public heart. They saw that healing is not comfortable. Healing is brave. It is easy to be peaceful in a garden. It is almost impossible to be peaceful in a blizzard. But they did it. They proved that peace is not the absence of storm. Peace is the calm within the storm. The snow eventually melted. The pause eventually healed. But the lesson remained frozen in the minds of everyone who witnessed it. The walk for peace had survived the elements. Now, only the final echo remained. What does this all mean for you? Well, the person watching this on a screen, safe and warm, yet somehow still running? February 2026, the end of the line. Washington, D.C., 2,300 miles, 4 months, millions of steps. Looking back at the map, what was achieved? A cynic will say, nothing changed. Politicians are still arguing. Wars are still raging. The internet is still angry. And on the surface, the cynic is right. The walk for peace did not magically fix the world. But that was never the goal. You cannot force the river to stop flowing. But you can be the rock that changes its course. Think about the thousands of drivers who tapped their brakes to look at the saffron line. In that split second of deceleration, their blood pressure dropped. Their focus shifted from tomorrow to now. Think about the people who brought water in Texas, who brought blankets in the Carolinas. For a moment, they stepped out of their isolated bubbles and became part of a community. The monks acted as a human speed bump for the American psyche. They proved that we are not addicted to speed. We are addicted to distraction. We run because we don't want to hear our own thoughts. But when you see 19 men walking in silence, the mirror is held up. You are forced to see your own reflection. The journey proved that healing is an active verb. It is not something you receive. It is something you do. It is the act of putting one foot in front of the other, even when it hurts, even when it's slow, even when no one is clapping. So, here is the challenge for you. You, with the smartphone in your hand. You, with the to-do list that never ends. You do not need to shave your head. You do not need to walk across the country barefoot. You just need to rebel. Rebel against the tyranny of the urgent. Rebel against the addiction to the next moment. Try it today. Walk slower than you want to. Eat without a screen. Listen without planning your reply. Sit with your own silence for 5 minutes. It will feel uncomfortable. It will feel inefficient. It will feel like you are wasting time. Good. That is the feeling of the withdrawal symptoms leaving your spirit. That is the feeling of healing beginning. The walk for peace is over. The monks have stopped walking, but the road is still there. And the choice to slow down, that belongs to you now. Don't let the world rush you. Peace is waiting, but you have to stop running to catch it.